Hey guys, and welcome to my reading recap of April. In April, I read a total of 7 books. Most of them were physical, and only 2 of them were audiobooks. So I thought I would start with my Kindle read. For the month of April, I read Blood of Hercules. With Blood of Hercules, I read it on my Kindle, which I can't get this to pull up. Hello? Guys, I'm struggling. Oh, here we go. Please wait. So the first book of the month that I read was Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Moss. I read it on my Kindle, but I also listened to it in audiobook. So I guess I actually listened to 3 audiobooks this month if we're including this one, just because I listened to part of the book and I also read it. So it was kind of like an immersive read for me. I feel like I'm already starting out very controversial. With Blood of Hercules, I gave it a 4.75 when I first read it. But now I'm looking back at my review and I'm looking back at my thoughts on the book, and I think I'm actually going to change it to a 3.75. And I know that's a big jump, and some of y'all might hate me for that, but after reading my review, I realized maybe I didn't like it as much as I thought I did. So Blood of Hercules is about the Greek gods, and so that's why you have Hercules in it. I found the main character insufferable, and I think if I didn't listen to the audiobook, I might have thought different. And that's saying something. I think if I had just read it on Kindle, I might have actually liked the main character, but there was just a lot of the times where I'm like, man, this character's kind of insufferable. And just the wording that was used in the book, it gave very Wattpad, but not great Wattpad. It was just Wattpad. So I felt like I have a controversial review of this one. The plot was honestly really cool. I loved the idea of the Spartan school and it being a brutal task and her getting through the schooling and becoming a main Spartan and all that. I thought that was cool. And I definitely liked the characters that were in it. I loved the MMCs, and I also loved Patro and Achilles, and I feel like those are just characters that I like in general because I loved Song of Achilles. So Patro and Achilles were awesome, and honestly, if I continue reading, which I probably will read the next book, I hope they incorporate Patro and Achilles a little bit more. I honestly just kind of wish that she ended up with one of those 2 guys, but she ends up with someone else, and I am not going to bring that up because I don't want to give you guys spoilers, but I don't know. It felt like in the story it started really awesome, and then it was like, I don't know, it took a giant 180 at the end after she got through the Spartan school, and it kind of just felt like rushed and weird, and it ended up really spicy at the end, and honestly it seemed like very non-consensual, which I don't necessarily love, and I don't necessarily love that they forced her into a marriage at the end of the book, which who she ends up with is interesting. I like them, and I definitely like how dark they are, but I'm not going to give you information on them because I don't want you to know who the character is. But I thought her found family was amazing. I loved the snake in the book and her brother in the book. I definitely love that. So yes, I definitely am changing it to a 3.75, but I did overall like the book, so that's not necessarily a bad rating. The next book that I read this month was Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I liked this one. I really liked it. I ended up giving this 4 stars. And this book, I love Jax. I think Jax is such an interesting male main character. I definitely marked down every part of the book where Apples was brought up, because I feel like Apples was brought up quite a bit in this book, and Once you read it, you'll understand why the apples are brought up, but I honestly love the premise of this book. It was just so cool. It was definitely left on a cliffhanger, so I definitely want to read the next one, which is The Ballad of Never After, and then the third one is A Curse for True Love. And I would assume that each of these books stands for one of the hearts that she has to fulfill. She makes a deal basically with one of the, I guess it's like a devil. She makes a deal with the devil, and his name is Jax, and he gives her 3 hearts that needs to be fulfilled. And I'm not going to give you more info because I want you guys to read it because it was really cool. But we only got through one of the hearts in this book. So I want to know if we'll get the other 2 hearts in the next 2 books, which is probably what it will be. But I love Jax. I loved how it ended up on a cliffhanger. I feel like a lot of the meat of the story ended up at the end, which is similar to one of the other books that I read this month as well, Shatter Me, and I feel like I've already touched on that in my last vlog. But I just want to learn more about this, and so I think me wanting to learn more about the next books makes me realize that I actually really did enjoy this one. So yeah, Once Upon a Broken Heart. Next, I read Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, and I got this gorgeous hardback, which is actually my only hardback of Emily Henry, but I really liked this book. I feel like out of all of the Emily Henry books, which is saying something, this is one of my favorites. I did love Book Lovers and I did like Beach Read, but I think I like this one more than both of those. And I think that's crazy talks, and I might get canceled for that, but I honestly really liked it. This book didn't really feel like an Emily Henry book, and that partially might be why I like it, because it seemed like a different writing style for Emily Henry, and I thought it was really cool. So this book is about 2 authors who are competing for the role of a journalist to write a memoir for this woman who was in this very rich family. They were like Rockefeller, Kennedy's, the rich generational wealth families. And it shows her experience and her family's experience from the beginning. So it also shows her grandparents and how they fell in love, shows her parents and how they fell in love, and also how she fell in love. And she's releasing little bits of these stories to these authors to see which author she really wants to work with between the 2 of them. And of course, you're going to get the romance between those 2 characters as well. But I thought it was really well written, and I liked it reminded me of 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So if you liked that one, I think you would like this one. Obviously it's different, so don't go into it with that expectation, because that one was a masterpiece, and it's just similar in the way that she's telling her story and that there's romance in there. But I liked it. I ended up giving it 4 stars. It was actually, like most romances, I give 3 stars. So for this to be higher definitely shows that I really enjoyed it. But The Great Big Beautiful Life. Next, I read Shatter Me, and I did touch on this in my last vlog, so I won't go too into depth, but I gave it a 4.7 star. It was just good. I definitely plan on reading the rest of the series. Like I said about the other book, it leaves you at the end wanting more because you get to the meat of the story and then it ends. So it's just cool. The powers in this story are also really cool, so if you enjoy a dystopian novel, this is it. Dystopian at its finest, and it is great, and I love dystopian, so awesome. Next, I read The Shadows Between Us, and for this book I gave it a 4.5 stars. And it was good. I am definitely going to be reading the next book, which is The Darkness Within Us, so I will get that book at some point and I'll read it. But I loved both of the main characters in this story. I thought that Alessandra was a badass, and you don't really see the female main character being an antagonist, but she is most definitely the antagonist of this story, and she plays it well. Let me just read a little bit of the back for you. Alessandra is tired of being overlooked, but she has a plan to gain power. Number 1, the Shadow King. 2, marry him. 3, kill him and take his kingdom for herself. If that doesn't get you to read this book, then I don't know what will. Also, the sprayed cover, or the sprayed edges, is just gorgeous. But I loved both of the main characters. I loved the Shadow King. I loved Alessandra. Let me just see. Callias, our shadow daddy in this story, he was very likable and lovable, and I liked him a lot. He has a lot of baggage and I think that makes you love him because he is dealing with all of this all while trying to get love. And I feel like that's a big part of the story is he is not able to touch anyone, which makes it really hard to fall in love with anyone because he doesn't really get the chance to. And so him finding a wife is very hard, and him being pushed to finding a wife because he needs to create an heir. So that's what the story is. They go into this agreed marriage to fulfill all of their things that they need done, but it turns out obviously that she's trying to kill him, but he doesn't know that. They honestly really gave Peyton and Kai vibes. It's nothing like Powerless. It's good. They were both really good, and I honestly loved how Alessandra, she was just very creative. She loved making outfits. She was a seamstress for herself. She loved making over-the-top abnormal outfits that not everyone in the kingdom would wear, and she's setting trends, and I loved that. I honestly really loved that. For my audiobooks of the month, I started out with Overruled, which I gave 3 stars. It is a lawyer romance, and I talked about this in my vlog as well, but it was just cute. The 2 main characters are enemies to lovers. They're both lawyers and they go against each other in all of these cases, but they sleep together all the time. And she always says, it's going to be the last time, it's always going to be the last time, until it isn't. And then they start really liking each other and they start going through all of their baggage, which is insane. And there's a lot of hardships that they have to go through, and you don't know whether or not they're going to end up or not together. So it was really good. I gave it 3 stars. It's just like another romance, but it was overall pretty good. And then for the final book of the month, Promise Me Sunshine, and this one's by Cara Bastone. I gave it a 3.5 stars, and looking back, I think I might give it a 3.75 just because of the grief that was explained in the book, and I feel like it was just so well written, which you don't really get in a romance often. And looking back at it, I was like, no, Cara Bastone really emulated what true grief looks like, and this is a romance, but it's so much more than that, and there's so much grief and love, and it shows the female main character. First love is actually her best friend and not a man, and not her partner, and not someone else that she's been with. And it just shows what it's like to lose your best friend, and when that best friend is your whole life and you've never been in love with anyone else, it makes it really difficult to move on because you're so infatuated with this part of yourself that you were when you were with your friend, and to lose them is really hard to find yourself again. But the main male character, he is such a sweet man, and he helps her get through it the whole book. He helps her understand her friend, understand him, and understand what it's like to move on from grief, and that it's okay to not get past grief, because he has also experienced grief in a very similar way, and his might be even harder because it was his parent and his cousin, and them going through that grief together, but building on that friendship is just amazing. They literally built a friendship before the relationship, and I think that's not very common in romance books because it's just so fast-paced. But this book, it was very small, it was very fast-paced, but it also felt like it was so appropriately timed, and they were showing true emotions. So I really loved how they were friends at the beginning and made it to a relationship at the end. There was a little spice at the end, so that was nice. It was overall just such a good book. There's also just so much going on, and I thought it was just so cute. So if you want to read a romance that's probably gonna make you cry, I would say Promise Me Sunshine is a good one for you to read. But that was my books for the month of April. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will definitely do this monthly for all the books that I have read, but this is my April recap. I will see you guys in the next video.